Hello and welcome, inspired podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Kim Ades, and I'm so happy that she's here and she said yes to our interview. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic and so happy to be talking to you all the way across the country,
Yes.
all across the world. In fact, it's very exciting.
Yes, this is one purpose of the podcast to connect the world and to talk with leaders, experts, and authors like you are one of them. And I would love to introduce you to the audience, of course, first.
Please.
You are the president and founder of Frame of Mind Coaching and Journal Engine Software. You are a pioneer in leadership coaching and thought mastery. You help leaders sharpen their thinking to achieve remarkable results. You are an author, speaker, entrepreneur, coach, and mother of five, known for teaching your coaching process to leaders and professionals globally. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Kim Ades.
Thank you so much. I'm excited and happy to be here.
Me too. Thank you so much again for saying yes. And my first question to you is, how did you develop your unique coaching philosophy and what sets it apart in the leadership coaching space?
Well, I've been coaching leaders for the past 20 years. And when I first started coaching, the big emphasis of coaching was to create an accountability based coaching model. And that was 20 years ago. And at that time, I felt like something was not quite right with that model. I felt like inherently, like deeply inside of me, accountability in coaching was, let's call it unethical at best and detrimental at worst. And I thought, you know what? Like if I hold my clients accountable and it works, then what I'm creating is actually a system of dependency. And that's not really ethical, right? My job is to create independence, not dependence. But if I actually hold my clients accountable and they're still not achieving their goals, they came in not feeling super good. And then if they're still not achieving their goals, how do they feel now? Probably worse. And so I felt like there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better model. Like, what is it actually that's preventing people from reaching their goals? If I could help them uncover what that is and move that out of the way, then I would be very successful as a coach. And so from the very beginning, what I was interested in was that question. What prevents people from living the lives that they really want to be living and reaching the goals that they have? And that's when I began Frame of Mind coaching. And what we did was from the beginning is I wanted to get inside their minds. I wanted to learn how they think, how they see the world, what they believe to be true, what their values are, how they operate, how they behave. And so from the very, very beginning, I asked my clients to journal with me in a private and secure online journal every single day. And so at the beginning of the week, I gave them a journaling question or a prompt to start thinking about, start journaling about. And every day that they journal, I'm able to read and respond to those journals. So it's a very intense, very intimate coaching experience designed to move someone a far distance in a very short period of time.
Wow, I understand. And I came across this concept of accountability only like 3 years ago when I started
Really?
coaching. Or, yeah, really, really. It is, first of all, yeah, I can explain it to you what this means because it is a cultural thing as well. So this has not to be, maybe this is my excuse. I can say we don't have it in Germany. We don't have the word in Germany.
Interesting.
Maybe you cannot translate it directly. You have to explain. Maybe it is something else. So the word, I learned the word 3 years ago and what it is, what it means to hold someone accountable. And I love that. I work with accountability partners as well. So you talked about 20 years, or you are in coaching for 20 years now,
Yes.
and you shifted this model because it was not suitable, so to say, anymore, in order to hold them not dependent on you.
Correct.
But
I didn't want them to be dependent on me, and I didn't want to make their problem worse than it already was, right? I didn't want to contribute to their pain. I wanted to help them feel a greater sense of power and freedom and independence. And so I felt like that accountability setup, that relationship wasn't the healthiest.
Yes, absolutely. I understand because first of all, when I came across and coaching is not so it's a little bit different in Germany. It's not so popular, let's say. It's only the beginning. So I
Yeah.
had to so I learned everything from US people, so to say.
Yes. Right.
So I studied with Bob Proctor,
Ah,
just to let you know what my background is. Of
Bob
course, so I,
Proctor, I mean, he passed away, correct?
yeah, two
But he
years.
used to be very close to me.
Oh.
We're not far from each other.
Oh,
Yes,
that's great. So I met someone, or I meet you now, and you are close to him. You were. So yeah, he passed away 2 years and a half
that's
ago,
right.
and I studied from him. And I think all the Germans did because we have to look to America where all the ideas come from, and to inspire us, of course. So this is my background. It is a little bit different. So in America, it is very normal, so to say, to have a coach, right? And for me, it was like, what is this? And coaching, it's not normal. So when you talk about dependency, so I saw this many times, that people with the conditioning from their parents, for example, they develop the same conditioning towards their coaches, and this is what you mentioned, right? So they have a new dependency. They just
Well, look, when you hold someone accountable, right? Basically what you're saying, hey, I want you to do X, Y, or Z, right? I want you to do this thing. And when we meet again, I'm going to ask you, did you do that thing? And so then what we're doing is we're unconsciously or unintentionally is a better word. We're unintentionally um, using the relationship as the motivator. Hey, when we meet again and you get this stuff done, our relationship is still good, right? You're meeting my expectations. And that's not what I want to create with my clients. I don't want the relationship to be the fuel for their inspiration or their motivation. I want the relationship to be independent of that,
yes,
right? And at the same time, the relationship, if like we must develop trust. Without trust, nothing happens. And so the relationship is critical for coaching in terms of helping the person really look at themselves honestly, but not in terms of getting things done. That's not the relationship that is useful or healthy.
yes. Yes, that's so true. And you talk about like the intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic, so that they are not dependent from you, and
Exactly.
it comes from within, and this starts, of course, with the decision that they want to change. Right.
Exactly. Exactly. You said it perfectly. Intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. And I never want to be the extrinsic motivator. Never.
Yes, so
Correct.
thank you for pointing this out. Of course, I have another question for you, and it is, what role does thought mastery play in helping leaders achieve extraordinary outcomes?
So the way it works is that your thoughts fuel your behaviors, right? So the way you think over and over again forms the beliefs you have. The beliefs you have like fuel the expectations. The expectations you have then end up directing your behaviors, and your behaviors lead to the outcomes you get. So the issue is that when we're not getting the results that we want, our typical response is to say, okay, well, we need to do something different, right? We completely, very quickly jump to action or different action. Okay, that didn't work. I need a new strategy. I need to do something differently. But when we look at this lineup, right? Thoughts, beliefs, expectations, behaviors, then results, what we start to understand is before we jump to actions, which is at the end of this line, we have to start with our thoughts. And so when we come up with a problem, when we encounter a challenge or a problem, what we teach our leaders is before we jump to action, let's look at our thinking. Let's look at how we're thinking about the problem. Let's look at how we're processing it. Let's look at our belief systems. Let's look at this and make some tweaks here before we decide to change our behaviors. Why? Because if we only change our behaviors, what we get is short-term change. We don't get sustainable change.
Wow, this is so important. Thank you for pointing this out and clarifying. Of course, it all starts with the thought, right? And
Exactly.
then the action follows, so to say. It comes at the end. You said so
That's right. First we think, then we act. Even though sometimes our thinking seems very instantaneous or unconscious, we're still thinking first. And so what we want to do is look at our thinking before we take action.
yes, so important. And many people have it the other way around. They say, if I only have so and so, and then I will change or
That's
something.
right. That's right.
And again about motivation. And my next question is, how do you balance your roles as a coach, entrepreneur, and mother of five while maintaining your focus on growth and success?
Well, my kids are older now. So I have 5 kids. My youngest is 25 years old. Um, she's actually in Germany right now. She's traveling. She's doing her PhD. And she was in Europe because she was doing a couple of presentations over there. So my job as a parent has eased up. Right now, the conversation is about engagements and weddings and buying rings and prenuptial agreements and what like all of that living, but they don't live under my roof, so it's I've done my time. Right, it's become a lot easier. So now, because I'm an empty nester, I live my life and I do, and because I'm an entrepreneur, I manage my schedule the way I want to manage it. I can, if I have a day where I need to block something off, I'm like, okay, I'm not working this day. So it's actually very easy. I have a lot of freedom what I do, and I have a lot of fun with it. There are days when I work very, very hard, very intensely, back-to-back calls, and then there are days where I say, okay, well, today I'm not going to start working until 11, and that's what it is. So I do what I want, how I want, the way I want. Unfortunately, my only Achilles heel is that when a client needs help, I never say no. So that's the only problem.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
That's freedom as well, and this is what you teach your clients as well. To it is the independence.
that's correct. Absolutely.
And so you work as a coach for 20 years now. You said, what about your own coaches and mentors? Do you have coaches for yourself? And
Of
who was
course.
the best coach you ever had?
Yeah, of course. I've had a variety of coaches through my lifetime, whether it's health coaches, business coaches, life coaches, all kinds of coaches. I always have a coach, but I also like I own a business, so I coach leaders and executives, but I also have a team of coaches. So they coach our clients as well. I'm not the only coach in the company.
Wow, that's great. I love that because, yeah, you can go with one coach as well. But as you mentioned, there are different areas to cover and different experts as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but we always use the same model of coaching. We're always using journaling in our coaching. So everybody has the same playbook. We are always coaching the same way with the same framework, but we coach with our own unique personalities.
Yes. And on different topics, you mentioned it, health and wealth, for example, or
We
happiness.
Well, so we're typically coaching individuals who are executives, entrepreneurs, leaders. They're very highly driven. They're very successful, but they normally struggle in one of four areas. They either feel very isolated, they don't trust anyone, they don't have anyone to talk to, they have a lot of responsibility, they are good delegators, but sometimes they can't share the load exactly with others. And so they need someone to help them work through some things. So they're number one, isolated. Number two is there are people who have very high expectations for themselves and they never feel like they've accomplished quite what they want to accomplish. So they feel this sense of chronic dissatisfaction. And they're not sure if there's something wrong with them, why it's so hard for them, what's taking so long. Maybe it's their team, maybe it's the competition. Like they don't understand what's getting in the way exactly, but they feel this sense of frustration, this chronic dissatisfaction. The third thing is that they are people who tend to have friction with others. And sometimes that friction is overt, right? They get mad because other people aren't performing, they're not understanding, they're not rowing in the same direction, they're not rowing fast enough, etc. But most of the time, what we see is what I would call covert friction, where a leader might observe the behavior of someone else or the performance of someone else, and it upsets them internally, but they don't necessarily address all of that they don't address everything. There's too much on their plate. They put those things on the back burner, so they carry a lot of that friction with them, and we'll call it unaddressed friction. And then the fourth thing is I invented a term. It's called slippage. And what I mean by that is these people are working super hard, long hours, and what happens is they let important things slip through the cracks. Things like their health, their nutrition, their sleep. They're not necessarily having a lot of fun. They're not socializing with people they love and care about. Maybe not spending enough time or as much time or enough quality time with their family, their children, etc. And what we see is that it starts to eat at them, right? And we see like we see the impact on them physically, mentally, emotionally, all of the above.
Yes, I see. So thank you so much for sharing this. It opens up new possibilities to be coached as
Yes.
well. Mhm. In different areas. And I love the word you invented, slippage. I would call it sacrifice. They sacrifice, but sacrifice is when you are conscious about it, right?
That's right.
Yeah. That's the difference. Okay, you talked about goals and you help your clients to achieve their goals. What about your own goals? Of course, you set goals for yourself, I assume. And what is one of your next projects?
I have many, but I have a personal goal that I'm working on. My husband and I wrote 3 children's books, and my goal is to try to get them published in the next year or so. So, and to get them on the shelves and get them sold. So the story is about a girl, a curly-haired 10-year-old girl named Whimsical Kimsicle.
I love that.
Yes. And she's very active, and she's very energetic and bouncy. And she comes across some interesting situations, some messes that she needs to get herself out of.
Wow. I look forward to see your books published, of
Yeah.
course, in
Yeah.
the shelves and on the, how do you call it when people read? Yeah, they read it to their children, of
Yes.
course. And yeah, I love seeing this in next year, maybe? Yes, next
I
year.
hope so. I hope sooner. I will see. If I don't get a publisher by January 1st, I will publish it myself. So that's my time frame. If anyone knows a publisher, please let me know.
Yes, please reach out to Kim. She's
Yeah.
amazing. And this is also my next question. When people want to reach out to you, where can we best find you?
Yeah, the best place to look is come and visit us at frameofmindcoaching.com. When you come to the website, actually, one of the things that we have is we have journaling prompts. So many people like to journal, but they don't know what to journal about. They don't know where to start. They don't know what questions to ask themselves. So we have 10 very inspiring, very interesting journaling prompts right on our website. So when you go there, there's like a little badge that says 10 powerful journaling prompts, and you can get those. They're all complimentary. It's just download them. But I encourage you to go and just take a look, because when you journal, you start to gain some really powerful insights. So I encourage you to do that. Again, it's frameofmindcoaching.com.
Wow, thank you so much. It's so generous, and I will check it out, of course.
Please, please.
Oh, I love journaling as well, and I love asking powerful questions because the answers reveal themselves, of course. And thank you again for our interview. Now is time for your final thought to the audience, please.
My final thought is this, is when you're frustrated because something's not going right in your life and you think to yourself, like, what should I do to fix this problem? Don't do anything, and instead ask yourself, how am I thinking about this problem? And is my thinking actually aligned with the desired outcome I'm seeking? So that's my last thought for today.
This is the best thought I ever heard. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh my
Thank you for having me on your podcast. Thank you for the opportunity.
And see you in the next episode.